Another failure is Biden's Ukrainian policy, opinion. On President's Day, President Joe Biden made an unexpected trip to Ukraine to show his support for that troubled country and its president, Volodymyr Zelensky. On Monday, his visit to central Kyiv blocked traffic for several hours by entering covertly through neighboring Poland, where he has conducted additional meetings. As Biden and Zelensky strolled past important landmarks, loud air raid sirens wail. At a wreath-laying ceremony in front of a mural depicting Ukrainian troops who have died in battle, they hugged one another. The final act of U.S. taxpayer generosity since the Russian invasion started in February 2022, Biden pledged an additional $460 million in military assistance to Ukraine. Just 4 days before the anniversary of Russia's invasion, Biden effectively contradicted what Zelensky had been told during his largely ineffective trip to Washington in late December, when he was informed that Western support for Ukraine is waning and that he needs to engage in meaningful negotiations to prevent disaster as a new Russian offensive looms. Zelensky has been refused access to some types of weapons, including American F-16 fighter jets, while deliveries of heavy tanks from NATO nations, once off the table, have been slow and uncooperative. However, Biden has since indicated in the Ukrainian capital that the United States will maintain what the president referred to as its unwavering backing for what appears to be an indefinite amount of time. Biden donned a striped tie with the flag colors of Ukraine to emphasize the point. Even though there are still persistent indications that Russia may use nuclear weapons, there still isn't a clear endgame, but that doesn't seem to matter. A worrying consensus is also forming that Russian President Vladimir Putin may resort to using extreme measures to succeed if he believes that the war's result is inextricably linked to his personal and political fortunes. However, a fresh outpouring of enthusiasm has driven away any hesitation that may have crept into the Biden government late last year. The Munich Security Conference last week strengthened the West's dedication to Ukraine. Vice President Kamala Harris said on Saturday that Russia had committed war crimes. Even though the Biden administration took the precaution of telling Moscow of the president's travel plans in the interest of what National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan called deconfliction, leaders of both major parties have reaffirmed their support for Kyiv. Russia has openly referred to Biden's visit to Kyiv as a provocation, although Sullivan declined to discuss the country's private response. Although the enthusiasm of Western intellectuals for the Ukrainian cause may be limitless, this Biden policy is losing support. According to a survey conducted last week by the Associated Press NORC Center for Public Affairs Research, only a minority of Americans, 48%, now support providing armed assistance to Ukraine, down from 60% in May 2022 in the first time since Russia's invasion. Many argue that American domestic needs take precedence over Ukraine's military effort thousands of miles away in locations of questionable importance to U.S. security interests. They cite the U.S. economy's deterioration, the possibility of a deeper recession, persistent inflation, startling new national debt figures, and federal budget problems that could soon affect entitlement spending. Furthermore, a majority of Americans, 38%, now oppose giving the Ukrainian government direct financial assistance as reports of its corruption become more widespread. Only 37% of people support it, and 23% are indifferent. Biden's approval rating, which has been hovering around 40%, has dropped to 31% as a result of how he has handled economic problems. Critics of the administration, who are unable to disregard the inconvenient fact that he has never been to the U.S. border, over which millions of illegal immigrants have poured during his presidency, have been shocked by his visit to Kyiv. Representative Scott Perry, RPA, a retired general who leads the U.S. House Freedom Caucus, called it breathtaking that President Biden can show up in Ukraine to guarantee their border is secure, but can't do the same for America. Others have called attention to the unflattering implications of Biden's decision to skip East Palestine, Ohio, where residents are dealing with an ecological catastrophe following a train accident that was widely attributed to the inept Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg. Trent Conaway, the mayor of East Palestine, said, "That was the biggest slap in the face that shows you right now, he doesn't care about us, and he added that he is furious that Biden was in the Ukraine giving millions of dollars away to people over there, not to us. In a hypothetical rematch, according to a recent Harvard Cap/Harris poll, Biden would lose by 5 points to former President Donald J. Trump in 2024. This is the first instance in which Trump's advantage exceeds the statistical margin of error. Unsurprisingly, 58% of Democrats say they would prefer a different candidate to compete, which is perhaps not surprising. Although the fact that few Americans vote based on foreign policy considerations should give Biden some solace, the general trend indicates he rules in a swamp echo chamber that supports ideas that the public is increasingly rejecting.